52 years old. That's how old I was when I realized my entire life had been built on a lie. Not a small lie, not a misunderstanding, a carefully designed, systematically taught, culturally enforced lie. About money, about security, about what it means to do everything right. My name is Daniel, and this is the story of how I followed every single rule they gave me and ended up with nothing. If someone in your life ever told you to save, invest, buy a house, trust the system, you need to hear this. I grew up in Ohio. My father worked at the steel plant for 31 years. My mother taught third grade. We weren't rich, but we were stable. And stability, I was told, was everything. The rules were simple. My father repeated them at every dinner table. Rule 1. Get a good education. It's the only thing no one can take from you. Rule 2. Find a stable job with benefits. Rule 3. Buy a house as soon as you can. Renting is throwing money away.
Rule 4. Put 15% of every paycheck into your 401k. Let the system work for you. Rule 5. Trust your financial advisor. That's what they're there for. I believed every single word. At 22, I graduated with a business degree and $31,000 in student debt, which I was told was a good investment. At 27, I got married. Sarah and I bought a 3-bedroom house in the suburbs. The mortgage broker smiled and said, "Congratulations, you're building equity now." At 30, I had a 401k with $47,000 in it. I remember feeling proud. I was doing it. I was winning the game. For 15 years, I followed the rules without question. I never missed a payment. I never skipped a contribution. I never asked why. That was my first mistake. September 2008. You probably remember what happened. In 3 months, my 401k went from $89,000 to $31,000. I watched the number drop every single day and told myself what my financial advisor told me. Don't panic. Stay the course.
It always comes back. It didn't come back fast enough. In November, the company I'd worked at for 11 years announced layoffs. I was in the second wave. 53 employees. Gone. I had 6 months of savings. The mortgage required 12. I called my financial advisor. He said, and I'll never forget this, he said, "Daniel, unfortunately, given current market conditions, liquidating your assets now would lock in your losses." I asked him what I should do. He said, "Hang tight." I hung tight. 6 months later, I lost the house. The bank that held my mortgage, they had been bailed out by the government 2 months earlier. They were fine. I was not. That was the moment something broke inside me, not just financially, something deeper. The belief that if you played by the rules would protect you. They don't. The rules protect the people who wrote them. After I lost the house, I had nothing but time. So I started reading, really reading. Not the brochures the bank gave me, not the articles sponsored by investment firms, the actual research. And what I found made me sick. Fact 1. The 401k was never designed for workers. It was created in 1978 as a tax loophole for highly paid executives. The idea that it would replace traditional pensions for ordinary workers, that was a corporate decision made in boardrooms in the 1980s. In 1 decade, companies across America eliminated pension obligations and handed workers a 401k instead. It looked like freedom. It was a transfer of risk, from corporations onto you. Fact 2. Your financial advisor is not legally required to act in your best interest. For decades, financial advisors operated under a suitability standard, meaning they only had to recommend products that were suitable for you, not the best option available. Many were, and still are, paid through commissions on the products they sold you. The more expensive the product, the more they earned.
Your retirement account was their revenue stream. Fact 3. Renting is throwing money away is one of the most destructive myths in modern financial culture. Home ownership builds equity, but only under very specific conditions. When you factor in mortgage interest, property taxes, maintenance, insurance, and opportunity cost, buying a home often underperforms renting and investing the difference, especially in the first 10 years. The myth was popularized by the real estate industry because they profit when you buy. Fact 4. A degree is always worth it was largely manufactured by universities with a vested interest in enrollment. Between 1980 and 2020, the cost of a college education in the US rose by over 1,200%. Salaries did not. An entire generation was loaded with debt for credentials that the market increasingly doesn't require. None of this information was hidden. It was just never taught. Not in school, not by our parents.
Not by the system that benefited from our ignorance, because an informed consumer is a less profitable consumer. I'm 58 now. I rent a small apartment in Austin, Texas. I have no mortgage, I have no financial advisor, I have no 401k managed by people who don't know my name. What I have, for the first time in my adult life, is clarity. After losing everything, I spent 3 years learning what they never taught me. Not from banks, not from investment firms, from people who had no product to sell. I learned that financial security isn't about following the system, it's about understanding it, and then deciding, deliberately, which parts actually serve you. I started a small consulting business at 55. I live below my means, not because I'm afraid, but because I choose to. I invest simply and transparently. I ask hard questions before I sign anything. Do I regret the years I lost? Every day. But I'm more angry than regretful.
Angry that no one, not one teacher, not one advisor, not one institution, ever sat me down and said, here's how this actually works. Here's who benefits. Here's what to watch out for. Because that conversation would have cost them money. So instead, they kept quiet. And I paid the price. The system wasn't broken, it worked exactly as it was designed, just not for you. If Daniel's story sounds familiar, if someone in your life taught you the same rules, leave a comment below. Tell me which lie hit closest to home. Next week, the health myth that's been sold to you since the day you were born, and the industry that made billions keeping you in the dark. Subscribe, because the truth doesn't advertise itself.